There's a saying that one thing can lead to another. And it certainly has, because here's one thing, and the other things are there, and over there. Unfortunately, it's very breezy here on Sherwood Heath today, and noisy too, with background traffic noise and helicopters flying over. But as I walked past this oak, I noticed a dark beetle just tucked in just there. It was no surprise when it turned out to be a pine ladybird, and you might now be saying, well, what's a pine ladybird doing on an oak? But pine ladybird is quite ubiquitous and will turn up on a whole range and host of trees and shrubs. It'll turn up on ivy, often overwinters in ivy, oak, other broadleaf trees, and quite often lime. If you've got lime trees on your street or you're having them outside your house, have a look in the cracks and crevices of the trunk. You may well find this particular ladybird. But while looking at this pine, and in fact I took a little bit of footage, just casual footage that I can insert into another video at some other time, but then I noticed what I thought were two more. Those two more are on here, and then I noticed another just on there, and they're altogether different, and on a Nottinghamshire scale they're much more uncommon and are pretty much restricted, if not totally restricted, to the habitat which I find myself in, and that's heathland. Now, I have walked and spent many hundreds of hours on heathland, and unless you go specifically looking for it, or especially using a beating tray, heather ladybird isn't a ladybird that turns up with any real regularity. And this is the first time that I've seen three in close proximity. And heather ladybird you might expect to be found on heather, and for much of the time it is, but it can overwinter on the trunks of trees. These, however, are tucked in with the buds, and I'm surprised to find the three. I'll try and hold this still, but this is actually brilliant light, because this completely black small ladybird is only about 3mm from head to tail, so to speak, and it's completely dark apart from those almost neon-like red markings, one on each elytra. They're almost like comprised of 3 spots, but it's always very difficult to get in the right light. And you can see the head end is on the right as it's turning around now. It is a very mild day, but this is the perfect light in which to see this ladybird. It can often appear very dark, and those red markings will become darker with age. But this is a fantastic view of this delightful little ladybird. It's a ladybird that not a lot of people have found or seen. And this time of year, it's probably one of the best times to go and look for it on the trunks of silver birches or oaks. I'm really pleased and chuffed to find this. Very pleased indeed. This one's on its own, but there are two very close together. The others are here, one just below this branch here, the joint of this branch and this branch. You can just see it against my nail, and the other one is tucked in just above here, just in there. This isn't the first time I've found them in such a situation. If you've never seen heather ladybird, now might be the best chance for you to go and have a look. This oak, of course, stands within or just to the edge of this heathland here at Sherwood Heath. But it's great to find 3, and I will have a look to see if there are any more on here. I dare say there are, because it's such good light. I'm taking plenty of photographs. I've got lots of photographs of this species that I've taken over the years, but the light is just a little bit better. Well, there you can see in the middle of the screen, you can see this one particular heather ladybird. You can't see it now, of course, but while it's such good lighting, I'm just trying to get some more photographs. I continually take photographs, even if I've got hundreds of a species. You can always improve photographs on what you've got. Good thing about things this time of year, they tend not to run off. We've seen this one turn around, of course, but it's just nice to find these. I'm really pleased. And here's the general habitat that these ladybirds are in. It's this branch here which holds the heather ladybird, or heather ladybird should I say, and the single pine ladybird. Just goes to show you what can turn up on what's now fast becoming a dull December afternoon. That's what's so good about invertebrates.